追溯到
they can
我们
scan
相关的
the
冷链
QR
食
code
品
to
它的一
trace
个产
the
地、它的相关的一个
production
检测的
base,
报告，
the
以及
supervision
相关的所有
report
的
of
信
the
息。今天我
food
们一起
item
跟着大家
they
去
are
探秘。
buying.
我们一起往里
So
走。
now please
这
follow
个
my
地
guide.
方呢，通过植物的镜头，我们就能够看到，这是一个入口区。
This is the
画面的右
entrance.
边呢，我们能够看到相关的一个指示牌。
We can see
在这个
the
区域已
board
经设置
with
了
instructions.
好几个功能
There are
区。
several
我们现
functional
在看到的
areas
就是
in
我
this
们的这个
district.
监管舱。监管舱非工作人员不得入内。
And also
同时呢，
in the warehouses, the non-staff members cannot enter. The first zone is about disinfection. For all of those vehicles, the first step they will undergo is disinfection.
所以呢，现在可以直接的通过
They have registered here, and so did I, so I can directly enter. As you can see, all of those people visiting must check their body temperature and register here.
我们今天呢也约了相关科室的负责人，
We
带着大家一起
had an interview with the staff member here, so we will learn more information about the daily process
冷链食品
in this warehouse for cold chain food
程序，才能够进入市场消费。
before they enter the market.
好，请科长，我们现在正在直播。
Hello, Mr. Chen. Please say hello.
大家好，我是杭州市市场监督管理局钱塘新区
I
分
am
局
Qian
餐
Jiang,
饮服务监
the
管部
division
的
head
专家。
of the catering division of the Market Supervision Bureau of Qiantang New District.
防控之下，进入浙江的这个进口冷链食品。
So, Mr. Chen, are the food items safe entering into our border through the cold chain? What will be the procedure handling those food? And you will take us to see the procedure. What is this
现在我
step?
们看到的就是在我们流程里，我们就这个车子进入我们的监管舱之后，我们对这个车子的这个司机的信息、
We will get the information about the driver.
货物的信息核对清楚，核对
We will
完
check
那么就到这个我们冷链车辆的消毒区来
the information of the driver,
一个消毒，
and then we will disinfect the
就是对
outside of the vehicle.
车头、车厢、车尾，包括轮胎来进行一个全面的一个消毒。
在进入到我们这个消毒区之前啊，
And before the disinfection zone, could you please inform us
它是否是提前就
whether those vehicles and the drivers must register beforehand?
这里办 APP 里面的我们制冷链的一个
Yes, indeed.
来进行一个
We have a refrigeration
预
system,
约登记、预约申报。
and they must register in that system.
24小时
We recommend them
进行一个
to make an appointment 24 hours before. And before
信息，
they enter, they must upload the information about the food items.
包括它的
Because they are all imported cold chain food, we must get the quarantine certificate, the customs clearance certificate, the weight of the food items, and the
司机的信息。
vehicle plate numbers and the driver's information. After uploading all of those information, they can apply for entrance.
相关信息之后
And then we will review
和这个入仓的条件的，那么我们会
if they are eligible, we will inform them about the detailed time of entrance.
舱外来进行一个整套，
Then they must wait here in this disinfection zone.
就通知他们进仓。
And when the time is about right, they will enter into the warehouse.
等候的地方我们首先就是要对司机就是来进行
And in the waiting zone, we will also check the body temperature of the drivers,
登记完了以后呢，进入从
including the health code.
就是到我们现在的这个消毒区
And then
啊，
they enter
大家看有
here, where we are standing. And you can see that is the window for sending in the notes,
投单处呢，就是司机
which
把这个
means
货物的一个清单，
for all of those documents about the food items,
那么我们的
they must be submitted here through this window, and our staff member will check the information on those documents, and
那么我们就通知
then if all the information are confirmed correctly, they will enter into the next step after disinfection.
收费标准。
And you can see here are the charging fees, including disinfection, the cooling system, nucleic acid detection. There might be some fees charged.
我们能去问一下我们的这个相关的这个。
Can we interview some staff members doing the disinfection work?
你好，
Hello there.
我们看着直播
Could I ask about the disinfection time for this vehicle? It's about 10 minutes. If it's a heavyweight vehicle like 20 tons or more, it takes about 20 minutes to half an hour. Usually, how many vehicles can you disinfect in one time? 3 to 4, because our machine could allow for the disinfection of 3 to 4 vehicles. And what disinfectants are you using? Lawn soap, including the chloride. According to the instruction of the government. And then the disinfected vehicle must be waiting here, right? Yes. We will take the samples, so the vehicle must wait here before the testing result comes out. And then there will be loading and uploading and then another round of disinfection. We must wait for the ventilation of the disinfectant. So it takes about half an hour before entering into the warehouse. Now I see, as has been instructed here, those non-disinfected vehicles will not be allowed in. So this is about the disinfection zone. An alert of the drivers. For the disinfected driver, they cannot drive in. Otherwise, they are prohibited. So, Mr. Chen, now let's go to the next procedure about sampling. When was this warehouse operational? It was established on December the 25th, 2020. As has been required by the Zhejiang Provincial People's Government. Another question in the heart of our common people. Since the end of last year till now, is there any sample tested positive? Not yet. Until today, we have already tested 18,000 food items, weighing over 321 tons, and according to the testing results, they are all good. So, as has been said, there are 28 such supervision warehouses for cold chain food items imported, so please be reassured about the safety of the food items. When the common people do not buy the cold chain food, can you offer some science knowledge for our general public when they are purchasing those food? My first recommendation is to buy in a franchised supermarket or the food market. Before entering into the public space, they are recommended to wear a facial mask before purchasing. And usually, the consumers will pick by looking at the outside, but we recommend you not to use your hand to touch the fish. Instead, you could choose to use a plastic bag in the supermarket to wrap up your hand before touching the fish, so avoid direct contact with the fish or other cold chain food. In Zhejiang province, all of those imported cold chain food sold on the market have a QR code, and the QR code is usually attached at a very conspicuous position. So use your cell phone to scan the QR code to get the information about this food item. Then we can see the production place, the source place, the quarantine testing result, nucleic acid testing result, and so on. We promoted this QR code and encouraged the consumers to scan the QR code so that you will know that we get all the certificates required for the imported cold chain food. That's the first pointer. And secondly, for the packaged food, we must look at the shelf life, production date on the packages, and also the storage pointers. As I said, it's better to use a plastic bag to wrap up your hand before touching the food item. And after coming home, wash your hands with soap or other disinfectant. And also before washing your hands, avoid touching your nose or your mouth or eyes with your hands to avoid that this virus may enter into your respiratory system. Now we arrive at this testing point. We will take our viewers for an on-site test. And here is a facility for nucleic acid testing, and we will enter into this warehouse. This is the only one quick nucleic acid testing facility in Zhejiang province. It's mobile. Let's keep a distance from the testing point. Our staff members can continue the routine work of sampling. What is the sampling rate? 3 per 1,000. By that, you mean if there are 1,000 items, you choose 3? But for this vehicle, it contains 2,000, so we take 6 samples. What are contained here? It's the rear leg of pigs. So this is one vehicle for sample taking. What is the procedure of sampling and what is the method? According to the food testing requirement in Zhejiang province, if there are 2,000 food items contained here in the vehicle, we choose 6. We check the outside package and the food items contained. There are 3 steps. And also we check the walls of the vehicle. We will put the testing tube inside to check those points. Now let's witness the procedure of sample taking. Our staff members will start the on-site sampling with this vehicle. What about the information of this vehicle? It's already disinfected. It's imported food by Shuhai company. So what are the staff members doing right now? You can see the plastic membrane. Our staff members take off the plastic membrane. And then there are 3 steps of sample tasting. We have a guideline for sample taking, for nucleic acid testing, of course. Now, you see our staff members are disinfecting their own hands. After which, they touch the food items. Those are the fish refrigerated fish. So for your information, we are now bringing you the exclusive information about how the cold chain food items imported to Zhejiang province are checked in the supervision warehouse in New Qintang district. Since December 25th, 2020, Zhejiang province established 28 such centralized supervision warehouses for centralized supervision of the imported food. They must get all the required certificates before enter into the market. Now our staff members are taking the samples on the outside of the package. They are taking the samples randomly. Perhaps you cannot understand about this step because you see the staff members are using the swab to take samples from the outside of the package, not inside. As you can see for this box of fish, firstly we will take samples from the outside of the package, and then we get into the package, and then the food item itself. After taking the 3 samples, we also take samples from the interior walls of the vehicle. So there are 4 times of sample taking. So now you can see they're taking several rounds of samples for the basa fish. As I said, the sample taking rate is 3 per 1,000. We will learn more about the procedure of centralized supervision warehouse. All the common people can scan the QR code on those food sold on the market. You can get all the required information, and the information is traceable. It's to guarantee your safety. Now, our staff member is getting into the package. They're opening the box. There will be some smaller packages inside, so randomly they will choose one smaller package for sample taking. After which, they will check the food items contained. As you see, before touching the interior food items, the staff members disinfect their hands again. If there is any pollutant on the package, for example, the outside package, our staff members' gloves may be polluted already, so that's why they just had another round of disinfection before touching the inside packages. And now they are taking second sample. What is the total volume of food items in this warehouse? The total number is about 317.9 tons of food here. Is that a daily number? Not really. If it's a daily weight, it's about 70 to 80 tons. While in the beginning, when our warehouse was first operational, it was about 20 to 30 tons. So what categories of food items must be checked here in the warehouses? If the food items enter through the Zhejiang Provincial Customs Office, or if they were transported to Zhejiang province from the other provinces for storage, distribution, and warehousing. And if they fail to offer any testing result, they must be checked with nucleic acid testing here in the warehouses. Of course, there are some exceptions. For the aquatic food coming through the customs clearance, which already operated 100% of testing, by which I mean if the customs office can offer the testing result certificate, then we will only operate the food with preventative disinfection, not nucleic acid testing. If the imported food have already undergone the nucleic acid testing in the other provinces of China and they get the negative result and certain required certificates, then in Zhejiang province, the first step they enter, usually referring to the enterprises, then they can get the final code before entering into the market. Okay, to get straight the information, there are several codes required. The first one code is about the customs office quarantine result, and the second certificate is about the negative testing result of nucleic acid. The third certificate is about the disinfection qualification, and finally, the QR code of the entire cold chain system. So if they are checked negative through the nucleic acid testing, you will offer such a QR code. Yes. The preconditions are negative nucleic acid testing and good disinfection procedure before attaching the QR code. And then those food packages can be transported out and sold on the markets. Now they're taking samples from all the 3 boxes. Speaking of the random sampling, we have to talk about the timing. For a traditional procedure, how much time does it take for such a sampling process? If we want to send back the samples to the laboratory, we have to take in the transportation time, the report preparation time. Then before the final report comes out, it takes about 5 to 6 hours. For this vehicle in front of us, after sample taking, then in the next 5 to 6 hours before the final testing result comes out, those food items must be kept here in this warehouse. Yes, they have to wait until the final testing result comes out. Since we have a quick nucleic acid testing facility, so usually we have a higher efficiency. The testing itself takes about 2 to 3 hours. And after all, we also do not have to transport the sample to the laboratory because the facility is very near, right on the same site. So we can greatly improve the operational efficiency of the warehouse. Now, as I see, our staff members are now getting their hands on the 4th box, because there are in total over 1,000 boxes in this vehicle. So by the rate of 3 per 1,000, they have to take samples from 6 boxes. Yes, indeed. Dear viewers, if you have any questions or comments about the disinfection or nucleic acid testing in this warehouse, you can leave your comments or questions in the comment zone, and then we will offer you the answers and the science knowledge. We are now, as I said, in one of the 28 centralized supervision warehouses in Zhejiang province. All of those 28 warehouses were established to guarantee safety of the food items you buy. If they lack any one of the 4 certificates, they must go through this warehouse for disinfection and nucleic acid testing. The sample taking is about to be completed, and the staff members are setting aside those boxes in their original places. After all, they are cold chain food. They cannot be exposed to the outside for very long, otherwise the ice will melt. We will have a brief interview of the staff members later. Comments are welcomed. Dear viewers, you are now watching the procedure of the Centralized Supervision Warehouse in Zhejiang Province. For the cold chain imported food, if you have any question, you can leave your comments. Under the circumstance of the COVID-19, you might be wondering about the safety of such a disinfection and sample taking procedure. And when you buy those cold chain food, for example, the balsa fish in the supermarket, you can scan the QR code before making your decision of procurement. Where is the QR code usually? If there is a package of the fish, it's certainly on the package. If not, then it might be in a very conspicuous position in the sales shelves. So, use your cell phone to scan the QR code to get certain information about the food item you're buying. Can we interview the staff members now? Good afternoon. Hard work over there. Could you inform us about the routine every day for the nucleic acid sample taking? And also from the registration to testing to the final report, how much time does it take? In the sampling process, as you see, we took about 4 samples, and then we registered the samples, and then by different batches and different varieties, we will take about 5 minutes for sampling. And then we take the samples to the facility you just saw next to us, and then there will be about 1.5 to 2 hours of testing. So this sampling procedure takes about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Speaking of the facility, can I follow you into the facility of nucleic acid testing? Is that the only one such facility in Zhejiang Province? Yes, indeed. This facility is for the Qiantang New District nucleic acid testing. It's the first one. It's about 13.5 meters long. There are 5 FAs, including 3 main FAs and 2 supplementary functional areas. The first one is preparation, and secondly, sampling. The third one is about testing. Now let's enter into the facility. We cannot go into the front of the working area because the requirement is very stringent. If we have to enter one working area, we have to change our protective clothes. So let's go through the back door. In the first zone, if you are disinfected and wearing some protective clothes, then it's okay. But for the second zone, you have to change your clothes. And also the shift of our staff members in the facility is every 8 hours. Now this is the first zone. That's the preparation of the samples or the agents. I see a staff member inside. And the second zone is about adding agents into the samples. Our staff members will put in some agents into the sample tubes And then here, as I informed you, that's about the agent's addition in the second zone. Okay, through our camera, you can see the staff member is putting in the agents into the sample tubes. That's the second zone. And then, with the automated transfer belts, the tubes will be transferred to the third zone for testing. So in our camera, we are showing you the second zone. Every working zone is independent from each other. We establish these facilities strictly according to the requirements of such testing laboratories. And in every zone, there are different quarantine requirements. I just asked Mr. Chen about the time of a traditional nucleic acid testing. It's usually 5 hours, but if we use this facility, this mobile facility, it's about 2 hours time before the report comes out. So that greatly improves the efficiency of nucleic acid testing, and also the vehicle can get a quick pass. When we firstly designed this mobile warehouse, it's totally suitable with our food testing requirements. All of those staff members here in the warehouses could be set as close contacts of those cold chain imported food. For those exposed staff members, what is the frequency of their own nucleic acid testing? It's usually 7 days. If they're close contacts with the food items imported cold chain, they must take nucleic acid testing every 7 days. There must be some loading workers. What about their frequency of nucleic acid testing? They are also directly exposed. So in this supervision warehouse, the testing staff members, disinfection staff members, the loading workers, they are all falling into the category of close contacts. So they must take nucleic acid testing every 7 days. For the relevant departments or bureaus like Market Supervision Bureau or the Health Commission's Customs Office, the Neighborhood Committee or the Transportation Bureaus, those staff members are categorized as indirect contacts. So they take nucleic acid testing every 28 days. So the staff members working in this warehouse has the highest frequency of testing. That's one way of protection. We have to abide by this rule very stringently. Before entering into our warehouse, they must take a nucleic acid testing already. And then, after 7 days, the direct close contact must take another nucleic acid testing. If it's indirect contact, then the frequency is 28 days. And also we have a registry about their testing results. Now we are going to the third working area. Some staff member is also inside. This is still the second functional area. This is the largest functional area because they have to prepare the agents and all the preparatory procedures of the final testing. So that's why the second FA is the biggest one. Dear viewers, you're now watching the live show of the supervision warehouse of close of the food items imported in Zhejiang province. This is the only nucleic acid testing facility on mobility, and the biggest advantage of this facility is that it can cut the time required for nucleic acid testing by half. Traditionally, it takes 5 to 6 hours, but now it takes only 2 to 3 hours. And this is the third FA, the most important functional area. The final nucleic acid testing report comes out from this window. The samples are transferred to this machine from the second zone. That's the nucleic acid testing machine. Our staff member is now preparing for the testing. In this zone, it takes about 1 hour, added by the preparatory of the samples and agents. In this facility, the samples could stay for 2 hours, roughly speaking. If the testing result is positive, the information will be submitted to CDC. What about this window? That's the fourth functional area, disinfection. All of those tested tubes and the wastes must be disinfected here in this high temperature zone. After sterilization and disinfection, the certain waste disposal company will come here for recycling of those materials. Okay, now you must be clear about the procedure. In 2 hours' time, the nucleic acid testing report will be produced. If you're a driver or certain enterprise worker, you must be happy to see this facility because it saves your time of waiting for the report. To give you one example, for a batch of goods entering into our warehouse at 10 o'clock in the morning, usually they can only come out of the warehouse at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. After all, the testing results must be proved negative before enter into our cold chain system. All of the staff members must wait over there, so the efficiency is very low. Now let's move on to the head of this facility. TMU News and CCTV are bringing you the live show of the Centralized Supervision Warehouse for the imported cold food chain items in Zhejiang province. All of those food items must have the 3 certificates and 1 QR code before being sold. Our staff members in this warehouse are guaranteeing the safety of the food you eat. I'm not in the position to ask about the result of the reports, but can you inform us about the different types of certificates you're holding? This is one table in the Centralized Supervision Warehouse. We take down the sample taking of all the food. Today, we check basa fish. There are 3 samples, and that's the registration table. Some samples and the documents are already sent into the laboratory for nucleic acid testing, so I'm not holding all of the tables. And this one is empty. It's empty blanks. So that's about sampling and testing. That vehicle is being disinfected over there in the entrance, and later on it will go to our section for disinfection and sample taking and testing. After sample taking and nucleic acid testing, it's only the intermediary link. After this, what will be the next procedure? I see there are a lot of sections. Could you take us over there for more information? As I said, there are 6 sample-taking positions. Since it's very cold, those cold chain food items can stay here and be kept here under the cold temperature. But if it's hot, for example, some food items may come to our warehouse in the evening. We will work overtime to take the samples and test them. When the testing report comes out, it may be 7 to 8 o'clock in the evening, and our staff members get off work. It's a tough job, all the days. And they usually stay overnight here in the warehouse. And then in the next morning, they can unload the goods. So there must be charging posts for their vehicles because the drivers usually have to stay overnight waiting for the report. So that's like services we offer for the drivers. The vehicles and the drivers must wait for the final testing report here. If the result is negative, the vehicle will be driven over here. That's the unloading zone. Those two vehicles are waiting here, and the testing results already came out for the two vehicles. They are both negative. That's why they are unloading the food items. Since that's the highly risky zone, we will not enter into that zone. So we will only show you the unloading process with the camera. You will see the daily routine. It's after a relatively higher risky area. Usually we will talk with the staff members working inside through speakers. In the unloading process, the disinfection machine will be over there to disinfect the food items in the vehicles. As has been said, after disinfection, all of the food items must be kept here for half an hour in a static way, and our staff members will take the negative report and the disinfection report, and then they will be uploaded to the refrigeration system of our warehouse, added by the 4 certificates required in the system. So then, for every food item in the system, we will attach one QR code. We will complete all the QR codes before informing the owners of the food to get their food. Some of the owners may require several days of retaining the food here in the warehouse, so the loading and unloading workers will carry the food items to the warehouses for storage. If no, the owners will directly get out the food items, and then we will offer a certificate to prove the process. So now through our camera, our viewers can have a quick experience about the inside. We cannot enter into the highly risky zone. So through our monitoring cameras on the screen, you can see the routine of the zone. That's the unloading zone. After getting the reports, the food could enter to the next zone if they proved negative. That's the unloading zone. Some viewers might be wondering, if the result is negative, why are you calling this zone highly risky area? Because after all, the sampling rate is only 3 per 1,000. There is some probability of a positive result for some of the food items. That's why in this zone, we will have a very comprehensive disinfection. What types of imported cold chain food products are you recommending in terms of safety to the common people? Once they get the 3 certificates and 1 code, they are certainly all safe. As long as the consumers scan the QR code before buying, and you find all the 4 ready there, then their safe products. There are several sections we haven't entered yet today. I've seen the cameras. I know there will be another round of disinfection before putting them on the trays. There are two choices. First, be stored in the warehouses for several days according to the requirement of the enterprises. If they plan to sell the products instantly, they will get them out. If they want to store the food in our warehouses for several days, then it's up to them. So there are different circumstances, and we will play along with the enterprises. And once they get all the certificates, we will let the goods out. Today, with our live broadcasting, we learn more about the procedure of the centralized supervision warehouses for imported cold chain food products in Zhejiang province. We already learned about the measures taken here for the testing and disinfection. To guarantee the safety of the food items we eat, there is one other vehicle coming towards us for sample taking. Every day, the staff members in the warehouses are busy on their way of testing to guarantee safety of all of us. The Lunar New Year festival is approaching, and with our live show, you must have more knowledge about the cold chain food products you may enjoy during the festival. With the efforts of the staff members here, we can guarantee the safety of the food you buy, and they are also contributing to the epidemic control with their due efforts. And when you are buying the products in the supermarkets, we recommend you to scan the QR code to learn more information about the products. Our consumers can be reassured. The products sold on the markets must get all the required certificates. Zhejiang province is checking and testing on a large scale. Otherwise, they cannot be sold on the market. So what you buy in the market must be safe with all the certificates. So I recommend you to scan the QR code. In the interest of time, that's the end of this live show. And in the past 1 hour, we learned about the procedure of the cold chain food products in Zhejiang province, including disinfection, sample taking, nucleic acid testing, and a QR code attachment. So before the food are on the tables of the common people, all of those procedures are traceable. Again, we want to thank all the staff members working here in the warehouses for their contribution in the past days and in the future to guarantee the safety of the food. And see you next time.